Hey guys, let me just start up the run here. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Blame Australia.
I can't type S.
Blaming the entire country. That's the spirit.
Yeah, sure. That's... Oh, Speed Souls is blocked by Yoko Taro. I guess because it has P in it. Is that right? Yeah. No. Okay, let's just call the file P, guys. That's good enough. Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, sweet.
Everything that lives is designed
So, this is NieR Automata, or
We are
Automata, or
perpetually
whatever you want to
trapped
call it.
in
It's a game by Platinum
never-ending
Games.
spiral of life and death.
Really action-packed. In fact, we're
Is
starting
this
with a
curse?
4.5-minute
Or
shoot 'em
some
up
kind of
section,
punishment?
which is like Toho, except less
I often
anime.
think about the God who blessed us with this cryptic
And
and
the game
wonder if
is
we'll ever
pretty
have the
damn
chance to
broken.
kill him.
So casually, it's a game very much about the storyline and the whole experience. Identifying with the characters, following them along, being heartbroken, you know. It has 20 or so endings. We're only going to be doing the first major one. There are some endings you can get before that, so you can finish the game in any percent in like a minute. But we're going to be going for the main category, which is A ending. Nearly everyone runs this category. It's basically the any percent of this game. But yeah, the game is extremely broken. In probably the best way possible. It's not like ridiculously easy. You can walk through walls pretty much everywhere, but it does take a lot of skill to be able to clip out, do it really quickly, memorize where the floor is out of bounds. There's a lot of out of bounds. And then the combat is by far the most difficult part to get right in the speedrun, believe it or not. Because the combat in this game casually is really easy. It's nothing like Souls. It's like, I don't know, it's like Souls on training wheels. You can spam recoveries to heal up. You have a billion iframes. But in the speedrun, you obviously need to go really fast, and there's a lot of optimization to be had in the combat. But we'll be getting to that about 5 minutes in. For now, I'm just trying to kill these waves as quickly as possible. Thanks for the good luck, guys. Happy to see all the guys from the NieR community here. You guys should donate towards that incentive, by the way. It's like 11 minutes into the run, 10 or 11 minutes, and it's the most important thing in the run. Deciding which pipe we go onto during angles. I'm hoping you guys will choose the right choice, which is obviously left pipe.
Captain, I think.
Hey, Blue. Yeah, I currently hold the world record for this game. It's kind of uncontested at the moment. Blue Metal here in chat is my main competitor for it. But he's taking a bit of a break, so at the moment I'm not really pushing to get a good time.
We need you to rendezvous with Unit 9S and begin gathering data on the local terrain. Understood.
Yeah, I'm Aussie. What's up? G'day, mate. How are the chooks? Do you want to sit on my veranda and have a stubby? I'm intentionally taking hits here, because you can see in the bottom left I have this quick menu that opens up to recoveries and buffs, all kinds of consumable items. It's kind of like the 4-way menu in Dark Souls, with the weapons and the Estus and all that. So we start off with like a number of large recoveries, medium recoveries, and small recoveries, which heal us for different amounts. And in this starting section, you want to burn up all the large and medium recoveries. Because if you do that, then the menuing later on will be quicker, because you have less items to go through in the menu when you scroll down. And we go to the menu very often, the shortcut menu we call it, to apply buffs, which speed up the combat a lot.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
So this is what the most of the game is going to be like. We have this pod over our shoulder, which provides ranged support through a Gatling gun. It can also fire lasers. It's like a special move that has a cooldown on it. And the more pods you collect, the more lasers you can have fire at once. And we abuse that later a lot. But most of our damage is coming from this melee combat. And we're doing one move over and over again with specific timing, called a damage glitch. It's this move here where she flips over and throws out the sword in front of her. And it requires kind of good spacing, positioning relative to the enemy to maintain that. Because you actually want it to spin on top of the enemy, rather than like behind them or in front of them. This is Mark's 1, he's the first boss. You can see his health just drops down so quickly. And I'm going to show off some aerial movement here. This game has a lot of sweet movement options. It's basically Dark Souls, but like a lot better. So that's the first boss. Not really a boss, but you know, it's dead. And we're gonna dive straight into the brokenness. Just gotta get a specific lineup. There we go. We're actually out of bounds here. Don't mind the spaghetti. Okay. So we just skipped a big chunk of the prologue. Just this first 14 minutes or so that we're in. Yeah, heck the Souls community. You guys know a good speedrun when you see one. That's why everyone loves any percent in Dark Souls 3.
Nothing's ever easy.
With Teardrop. The best category. So we're lasering a few of those. That's what the laser looks like. And I've obviously done this enough times to memorize where all the enemies are going to spawn. Just the same place every time. And this is bridge skip, very infamous, really tough high jump. Way tougher than it looks. But we get it first try, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, Fudge is the only one I use who knows which one is the good category in DS3. This is Out of Bounds. But the thing with the Out of Bounds is, as I mentioned earlier, they're not super easy. There are lots of ways to soft lock and lots of ways to fall off into the void, which costs a lot of time. So you really need to know what you're doing out of bounds.
I know.
It's a lot. Well, I don't know how much you can get stuck in Teardrop, but I mean, Teardrop's scary by itself, just like getting the glitch. Try to take out all these guys as quickly as possible. Here's a little bit of swag. Saves like less than a second to go this way rather than the intended path.
Maybe they, I don't know, moved it somewhere?
But yeah, that's most of the prologue done. The rest of the game's supposed to be a lot more open world than prologue was.
Should we check it out?
And unless you clip Out of Bounds, it really isn't actually that open world.
I guess even they get bad intel from time
There are a
to
few
time.
areas like the desert and the forest which are actually really open, but there are heaps of invisible walls in this game. Like the devs just went crazy. And you should see how high up the invisible walls go. Like some of them are so short and the progress triggers are also really easy to jump over. But then some of the devs just went like completely crazy with the walls. I should also mention we have a lock-on mechanic, kind of like Dark Souls, except it's terrible. It always, if there are multiple enemies, you kind of don't want to use the lock-on, because it tends to lock onto the enemy that you don't want to lock onto. Here's Big Boy Engels, the actual boss of the prologue. Dark Souls lock on. Oh, dude, it's so much better than this one, trust me. I actually only just figured out the other week that you can change targets in this game without unlocking. So something else that I'm going to show off to you here, it doesn't matter in this fight because this fight's completely timed, for this phase at least, but there's something called pod slow-mo. So you have that laser, and I'll show you here, you can slow down the game time by charging up the laser so that it gets more powerful. And then after a while the slow-mo stops, like there it went back to full speed. So it's like 2 seconds, you charge it, and then cancel it with pod fire. And if you don't cancel it, you just fire the laser and it goes back to normal speed. But you can, that's what we call cycling slow-mo. And that's, I'm pretty sure it's an intended mechanic in the game where they let you slow down time to aim the laser a bit better and just for dramatic effect. And it looks like this guy's hitting me, but my DG attack, the damage glitch, actually gives me a lot of iframes. Well, it's not a whole lot.
This is the target. I'm going to destroy it.
Now, unfortunately here, I got the worst attack. Punches. I'm sure everyone in chat will be very happy about that. This is like a 23-second time loss to RNG. It's like,
Can I interrupt real quick?
yeah, go ahead.
Alright, we have quite a bit. We have $5 from Fudge saying Kanaris. Did you get pancakes for this one? We have $20 from Chicken Hog saying left pipe is the best pipe.
Oh yeah, what's our incentive at, by the way? This is where we need to choose.
Nobody actually, like, you know, put it towards it, even though they donated.
That's okay.
So
I'm gonna go to... Oh, is it right pipe? Oh, no pipe.
No pipe. Then we have $5 from Fudge saying long live right pipe and no pipe before right pipe because right pipe is no pipe. And then $5 from Anonymous without a call.
I'm gonna hop on a pipe anyway just to show off to you guys. I did go no pipe. Now it's time for one pipe. Oh. So, oh my god, stop locking onto him. This is the extent of the aerial movement in this game. You can do some really crazy stuff. I didn't even get to show off all of it because the fight ended too quickly, but you'll get to see some of that later on. There's some really crazy stuff you can do.
Black box signal detected. No response to
I'm gonna try for a little skip here. I haven't actually practiced. I haven't done it once. Okay, I didn't get it. That's okay. Something that was discovered in the past few days.
9.
Oh no. Okay, that's fine. These guys are really troublesome. They like to completely iframe through the laser. Yeah, it looks like a mining rig, right? Because our squad like invaded this factory hoping to like destroy something or get information. And this guy was in disguise the whole time, firing lasers at us.
It talks? I didn't know the machines had that kind of intelligence.
I found a weakness in the target.
Now there's something we can do here. So this phase is, you want the set dialogue that plays every single time. You want that to end just as he's ending an attack, so that the next attack he chooses is a scripted punch that continues the fight. So I'm doing something here called shortcut spamming, just to slow down his animations, because it actually slows the animations relative to the dialogue speed when you enter a menu, just to make sure that he doesn't start a new attack right before the dialogue ends, because then he'll have to sit through that whole attack, and the dialogue will have finished ages ago and we'll just be sitting here waiting for him to choose a new attack. So you can kind of like RNG manip this bit
Objective: infiltrating enemy subunit. Behavior table adjusted. Balance controls overridden. Enemy unit subjugation complete.
This bit's the best part of the game. Bam! Alright. That's prologue done. So a lot of stuff happens there in the cutscenes. I'm going to be skipping as many cutscenes as possible. So unfortunately the story isn't very spoiled. It's not very revealed what's happening.
Nothing for. I.
It's been a while since I've watched this without knowing what the story is. So I'm actually not sure how confusing it is, but you probably have no idea what's going on towards the end of the game. Everything just gets really crazy.
50.
Hey, thanks for the good luck, bubs. So the TLDR is that we just exploded that machine through self-destructing with our partner 9S. 9S is the most annoying guy in the universe, but we're stuck to him for most of the game. And he's just setting us back up. So it's actually like an in-game required menu to set all the settings up again. Yeah, menu bus. It's really easy to mess up too, because this game has crazy menu delays.
Look at me.
I.
Oh. Though.
Nice.
Huh?
There's.
Oh, we.
I'm just setting up for a dialogue cancel here so that he follows me to a specific position. I talk to him, walk into a dialogue trigger right there, and it skips a whole sequence of dialogue. Because you can talk to your ally to change their AI configuration, right? Because they're robots. So you can make him like aggressive, passive, long range, short range, whatever you
That
want.
means we'll be getting flight units, huh?
And
Better
the way you
than
do that
NieR.
primarily is by talking to him
Usually
in
we
game.
can't get near flight units. Way too
And then
expensive
while
for
you're
us
in
to
that dialogue
boss.
trying to change his
Too bad we
AI,
can't
you can
mass
walk.
produce these things yet.
So you just walk into a trigger and the dialogues cancel each other out. There's quite a bit of that in this run. A lot of the stuff we do is limited by dialogue. So any way we can speed up the dialogue is great.
A2B, why do you think they sent a combat model like you to a recon job? If all they want is intel, we scanner models are built for that.
Now
kind
this
of
one
thing.
here, this
Orders
Toho
are
section
ordered.
isn't as bad as the other
Alright.
one. I mean, it's not as slow. It's over pretty quickly. And it's going to be the last one of these for a little while.
Weaponry installed from here on out. I'll put up instructions for you. Make sure to commit them to memory.
Roger.
Looks...
Can I
Yeah, go ahead.
for a quick donation? Alright, so we just got a $176 donation by Anonymous saying, "Save the children, save them! Maybe also save Pascal in the store." I read it. I also quickly want to plug another poll that is coming up, where you can donate to. It's actually the next run. It's the best game. I'm sorry, Kanaris, but it's just true. It's Bernstein Beer's Camping Adventure, and you can choose either brother or sister beer. So that also brought us to 3K. Thank you all so much for donating.
Good luck
And
down
good luck
there.
with the run.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Bernstein Bears, man. I mean, this game just can't compare. Alright, so gradually as we go on in the run, the movement that we're doing is going to get more and more crazy. Just going to let you guys know that.
Target
And,
location acquired.
gee, how far in? It's about like 35 minutes in. We're going to go for a pretty tough trick to get a spear that makes our movement even faster. And then, like 46 minutes in or something, we're going to go for another recently found really tough trick with the spear. And that one can soft lock you very easily, so I've got a backup save ready for that. But you'll notice what we're doing here. Even in the prologue, we were spamming dashes instead of just sprinting, and that's because dashes actually are faster than sprinting, which is pretty dumb. It'd be like spamming rolls in Dark Souls instead of running. Just gotta speak to these guys here. Pick up a few quests that are mandatory.
Marking on map.
So to fill you guys in, this is the resistance camp here. This is like the HQ for communication with the androids who are on Earth. Because we're from space, right? We're these special forces that were sent to wipe out machines.
Too bad vegetation's
And we're
claimed
just
most of
speaking
it
to the
now.
people of this area.
Operator 60 to 2B.
But you can see when I have the chance on flat ground, I'm dashing, and
This
then
is 2B.
at the end of the
Moving to
dash, I'm
report.
doing a little punch. And that is quicker than dashing. Just like by 5% or something.
It's fine.
If you do it
Does
correctly.
that question have anything to do with our operation?
Not really. I just figured it might feel nice to have some good
A no-hit run?
That should be enough.
Uh,
Let's get this back to the trader.
that's something I was actually considering doing
Plant life has claimed most of the
recently,
central
but
area.
I haven't gotten
Meat
around to
plants,
it.
too.
Report. Records show that vegetation has grown
I
to
think
an
I'll
abnormal
save it for
size
Happy
since the
Hob.
departure of humans.
Wonder if there are any huge boars and such, too.
So these guys are dropping items for the quest. We need to kill specific ones, but it's a bit difficult because you can choose which ones. You know which ones to kill because of their level. So level 4, level 5, and the big guy. But it's a bit difficult because they only show their level to you
That's everything the supply
when you
trader
get
asked
close.
for.
And that little quest that we just did there is notorious
Chores are
for
a pain in the
terrible
butt, huh?
RNG.
The resistance is a
It's one of the
valuable
worst
ally to
places
your
for RNG in
By
this run.
helping them, we also help ourselves. So no.
Because the enemies can spawn anywhere,
Yeah, yeah.
the levels can be all around the place, and you really don't know where the drops are going to land. Glitchless. Ugh. Alright, so we're turning in these quests. I just upgraded my sword, this small sword on my back, to level 2 from level 1. And when you upgrade weapons, they all increase in attack power, but some of them have special effects when you level them up. So you see now I'm doing this thing called dash swinging instead of dash punching,
Coordinates confirmed for location
and that's
specified
slightly
by
quicker than dash
systems
punching
leader.
again.
Understood 042.
It's only quicker now, I didn't do it earlier because the attack speed of the weapon was too low, so all the animations that rely on the sword, they increase in speed when you level up the attack speed. That's why it's important to only do this once you've upgraded the sword. Why do I trigger self-destruct? So self-destruct is... self-destruct is the best input in this game. It's used for so many things, believe it or not. I'm not memeing you. One of those things is stopping your character where she stands. Because if you slow down naturally, she just kind of like enters an idle animation, walks around a bit. It's just like a good habit to get into. So that you're at the precise position you want to be in. You guys are confusing me with this German. I'm buying a few things here. These are buffs, a few different recoveries, an animal sachet, which means the animals don't run away from me, and animal bait, because you can ride animals in this game. You can ride boars and moose.
Map data obtained from bunker.
Just gonna
Data
clip
may
out
be
here.
displayed from the system menu.
And something else I bought, I'll get to it a bit later, but it's called a resilience chip. So in this game, one of the main ways that you customize your character is through plug-in chips, because you're an android,
General
right?
idea is good enough.
So you have this allocated capacity for your plug-in chips, and they give you different buffs, like some will reduce damage taken from melee or ranged attacks, some slow down time when you narrowly dodge projectiles, and this one we picked up called Resilience means that you get hyper armor, so you don't stagger from attacks when you're above 70% health. And that's really important for later, because the more we get hit, the more we get knocked out of our damage glitch animations, the slower the combat is going to be. And it's much quicker just to proceed with the damage glitch animation, rather than try to dodge it and evade it and then start a new damage glitch, you know? By the way, that was like really out of bounds. It's really scary there though, because you can fall off super easily, and you need to hit a few progress triggers along the way. So this is the desert. We're not going to be here for very long. I'm just detouring slightly to pick up this pod. So we start off with pod A, the Gatling pod. And pod C is the one we just picked up with missiles.
Careful.
We don't actually
We've
use
got
the
enemies
missiles, which is like this Gatling thing that I'm doing here. We actually only use the second pod for extra lasers, for burst. Usually against enemies that are difficult to deal with melee attacks. And here I'm going to do a special little trick we call Stupid Rock TM. Because it was trademarked by a special player. We just slide along this wall with a plunge. So that wall is actually coded as, well, it's a wall, but it's shaped like a floor. So it's like flat. You can stand on it temporarily and then it just pushes you off. But because it's a wall, it doesn't stop this plunge move that we're doing here.
What's that?
Where we like fly down diagonally. If you were to hit a floor with that, that would have stopped instantly. But because it's a wall as a floor, it doesn't stop it. So you can actually like wall slide in this game. None of this stuff would be stuff that you would do casually, by the way. Like apart from crashing and weird visual stuff, the game is very not broken casually. They try very hard to keep you in bounds. This is all no floor here. Oh, I got a weird thing there that happens sometimes. It's okay. Oops. So yeah, you really need to know where to walk here, because this isn't floor. And I have to go hit a trigger. You see the minimap just changed there, indicating that we had hit the trigger. Okay. And there we go. Just skipped like a whole area.
What is this?
Oh.
Don't listen to them, 2B.
These robots here are having a fun little time. I'm not going to describe what they're doing to each other, but they're doing it.
They're just in.
Okay, so you can see I'm using that slow-mo a lot, indicated by that sign above the pod. And that's just to basically crowd control the enemies so that they hit me less. I have to dodge around less, spend more time hitting them. And something that's really important in this part, for the route that I'm running in particular, is that I get as many item drops as possible from these enemies. And they're all looted when the cutscene plays, you don't need to pick them up, but I really want to get as many as possible, so it's important that I try to play well here, kill a lot of machines. And the reason is, I want to upgrade my sword a second time later. And that gives a big DPS and attack speed boost. I'm just going to self-destruct here, using it for its intended purpose. Oh, I didn't get it off, but ideally you want to end the fight there by blowing them all up for more kills. I'm just going to buff up through the menus here. And I'm equipping a second small sword in the heavy slot of my other weapon set. So you have two weapon sets. At the start we're using the second one with small sword in the heavy slot, so we can damage glitch. But now I just basically created a duplicate weapon set. So I can damage glitch, swap weapon sets, and damage glitch a second time, and the first sword doesn't stop spinning. So it is actually almost effectively double the damage output. It's pretty insane. You can see I'm just constantly throwing more swords out at them. And those damage glitch swords, I don't think I ever mentioned, but they do 5 times the damage that is intended. Because you do this usual attack, but you just do it during a dash, and it applies like a 5 times modifier for some reason.
Can I interrupt for a quick donation?
No. Yeah, of course.
Alright. A man of his word he is, and Edsa donated $30 saying 6 stats. Okay, okay.
Oh, I've never
Yo,
seen a
nice.
machine like that before. We better report this to command. Let's move to an area
Thanks
with
for the
better
donations,
reception
guys.
So we can contact command.
So earlier on, I picked up these things we call transporters, or like terminals, or mail readers, or whatever you want to call them. And that's specifically so I can execute this glitch. You can normally clip out here, that's just fine, but what I'm going to do is enter the save radius, because you can like save from ages away from a transporter. On the minimap there, you can see the white circle. I'm quick saving in the menu, and then loading my game. And because I did that from ages away, it basically just takes me straight to the transporter, so I don't have to run all the way back. Pretty cool, right? And here we are. So that's desert.
Maybe we should...
P.
No.
Yes, P. I did it especially for Fudge Cow.
Operator to 9S. Data upload complete.
Roger.
I also have an incoming message from the commander. Initiating playback.
Still world record pace? No, I don't think so.
2B, 9S. We've lost
I think that
contact
was
with
dead in
several
prologue.
Yorha units that were on their way to the surface. Their black boxes are
Can't
online,
finish the game
so
without
it's
cheating.
assumed
Feels
they're
bad,
still
man.
alive.
Yeah, I'm
We've
really bad.
tracked the location of their signals, so I need all Yorha units on the
This
surface to
unoptimized
head over
movement.
and investigate.
End transmission.
I heard something about that back at the
A lot of
Resistance
people in
camp.
games will tell you to take the B lines because it's a more direct route,
Target
but
location confirmed.
I like
I'm
to
worried
take the
about
two
other
B
aircraft.
lines.
We should probably... Looks like our surface route's been cut off. Maybe we
Alright,
can
I'm just
get
trying to
through
get in this
underground.
hole and the game's not letting me. Thanks,
So
game.
2B, those machines out in the desert look just like androids, right?
Right.
Alright,
But
so
we
we're on the way
androids
to
were
amusement
modeled
park.
after our human creators. So why would machines try to look like us?
There's no point trying to work out unsolvable problems.
I suppose.
Use some sick swag at the top of the ladder here. I'm gonna be doing a lot of strange movement. Sometimes it looks like it doesn't have a purpose, but it always does. Whatever weird stuff I'm doing. So there I just jumped over a trigger for a cutscene. It's not required. And we have to be very careful about skipping stuff because it is so easy when you know what you're doing. But a lot of it is required. Going to be doing something here called Let's Play, and an additional skip as well on top of it called Roller Coaster Skip. Now this is the difficult skip that allows me to get the spear for faster movement. So this is where it deviates from the normal skip. And this one, a lot of runners have started doing it recently in the top ranks. Just zigzagging to get a trigger there, but it really is pretty difficult and not worth the time to learn initially. I've got to get a very specific timing here on this. Nice, I got it. Whew. That's such a relief, dude. I messed that up at ESA, that was Monka S. Everything is fine now. We're all gonna be okay. So I just sent off that roller coaster to go and complete its journey around these tracks that we're on. And we actually don't need to be on the roller coaster. When it reaches the end of the path, we're going to jump into a boss fight, but we don't need to be there. All it's checking is that the roller coaster is at the end of its path, and that we're not, you know, dead or anything. So we're going to go off on a little adventure here. Gonna go grab an extra weapon with no time loss, because the auto-scroller roller coaster is already on its way. We're quite out of bounds. The floor is tiny, I just gotta watch where I step. Alright, this is fine. And here's the spear. Okay, and I'm also gonna change my AI on 9S to long range. So before this it was on passive, and that was just so that he didn't trigger counterattacks from a previous boss on their shield. But now he's long range, so he gives more DPS. This is the best boss in the game. Seems we.
What the hell?
Right. Buff up. And I'm going to equip the spear in both weapon sets. This is very important for a skip later on as well. Quite enough damage there. There we go. Okay, so you can see her health has disappeared, and this is a running theme in the game. When their health disappears, they're at a health threshold. It's like the game just doesn't let you deal any more damage, and it's waiting for like a transformation or like an animation from them to finish before it lets you deal more damage. So in this case, we've got the scripted hacking sequence, the only one in A ending, hopefully.
It's trying to hack us. If we take
And we've got some
damage, it'll
dialogue
affect our
and a phase
bodies as
change.
well.
Yeah, we are very underleveled already.
Are we
Okay,
seriously being
try and get
attacked
some
by
quick
dead
kills
androids?
here.
I don't
Oh,
think.
I did a bad.
I'm detecting black box signals. They are dead.
Okay, this is fine.
They've been turned into weapons.
Alright, this ends now.
So these androids in the second phase particularly, there are 2 waves of them. These guys can hack you up real bad, like that. Big time loss, like 5 seconds each hack. You really don't want to get hit like I just did twice. And you might think, wow, you've got your camera in a really dumb position for this phase. But I actually can't control it. The game just gives you like a really dumb camera angle. So that's fun.
Keep it busy.
You go.
They're like, hey, dodge these hacking waves. Oh, sorry, we actually won't let you see the hacking waves coming at you. We're just gonna make you look straight at the ground. Just gonna take out these. So waiting for a transformation, and then the fight is over. And actually at the end here, I'm gonna fully self-destruct.
Alert. Saturation attack triggered.
That's to bring me to 1 health for a death warp later. Yeah, there are dirty hackers in this game.
So,
What is it?
that machine
Alright.
had some pretty weird things to say.
The booty
huh?
has been
It's almost
unleashed.
like it had actual emotion.
The machines don't have feelings. You said that yourself.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we do get some booty time in this
I
run.
guess.
Okay, so this movement here that I'm doing is the fastest flat ground movement you can do. It's called spear dashing. It's why I picked up the spear. Well, one of the reasons why. And you'll notice that on the screen flashing up, there is... Oh, I have to go for a new skip. On the screen flashing up, there is this red, like, alert thing popping up sometimes. And that is because I'm pressing SD for self-destruct. And, like, that'll time down if you normally self-destruct and hold the button. It'll count down from 2 to 0. But I'm just tapping it to, like, cycle through a combo on this weapon. And I'm just skipping to the part of the combo where it does the really fast dash forwards.
So why don't
Which
the
is what the
machines
entirety
or
of
the
spear dashing
aliens who
is, just this
created them
attack over and
the
over
bunker
again
directly? They
to
originally
propel you
came here
forwards.
from outer space, right?
Well, there are. a
She
few
also makes pretty
theories
nice
about that,
noises.
but no one knows for sure. Hard to tell what an alien is thinking.
They all have white flags.
Looks like they really don't want to fight.
But yeah, I'm basically just doing heavy attack SD, heavy attack SD with specific timing. And the reason the game is like kind of monochromatic right now is because I'm on low health. You can see at the top left. I think it's like 30% health and you go into critical mode. Nothing changes, it's just like graphical artifacts start showing up because you're an android. And the reason I'm not still on 1 health is because I used a medium recovery, or a small recovery, so I could do that trick. And so I could spear dash, because if you're on 1 health, you actually can't SD, it won't let you.
Regularly scheduled contact.
You want to be above 1
What's wrong?
health point so you can spear dash and do some other funky stuff.
Operator, I kind of
We got like the
but
biggest ball possible here, which is bad RNG.
She turned me down.
But normally you would try to grab a small ball if you can, and ride to the resistance camp. And then on the small ball, spamming jump on the ball is actually quicker than sprinting.
I am definitely
Because when the
not
ball
person
jumps
to
each time, it
discuss
propels you forward. Kind of like Celeste, if you guys know that
I
game.
don't think I can stand spending one more day in this bunker.
So when you get a small ball, you would spam jump, but we got a
It would
really
affect
big boy.
mission efficiency.
We're just gonna ride on it. What button I use for SD? I use my right
All
D-pad
Model
button.
E comp-
So in this game, a lot during the speedrun, I'm clawing and like palming the joysticks as well. Basically just contorting my hands a lot to achieve the desired outcomes, you know?
Well, what do you think?
Sacrifices have to be made for speedrunning.
Transmitting to us directly.
Alright, good. So we just died there deliberately to death warp. In this game, it's a very unique. If you die, the game automatically checkpoints you up to a certain point in the story. And when you go back to a checkpoint, your like any recoveries, any buffs, anything that you consumed or picked up is still with you. So we picked up a key item as part of that side quest. Well, it's not really a side quest, we have to do it. But we picked up a key item for Pascal in that village, and we just death warped all the way back to where we last saved. With the key item.
2B. Command is deploying new flight units for us.
And also in this game, I mentioned earlier the lock-on is like horrible. But that was just the manual lock-on, right? Like it just chooses the wrong target. In this game there's also auto lock-on, which is the white reticle, rather than, like you see there, I dashed off to the side. Rather than the red reticle on the manual lock-on. And that happens when an enemy is on your screen and close enough to you, and it's really annoying for movement. Because this is an attack, it'll auto-lock onto any enemies near me, so I have to try and, like, you know, golden eye my camera away from the enemies so I can maintain a beeline. And I'm just making a slight detour from the main objective here to pick up an item I forgot to earlier. Because I'm not I'm not really used to this new route with the crazy skip in it, but I'm just going to speak to this chick real quick. Should have done this earlier. What are we looking for? Oh. So I was hoping for good RNG there, but unfortunately I won't be able to upgrade my sword. So I didn't get enough drops from the fight earlier with all those machines. What am I doing? That? Do I need to do anything else? No. So no sword upgrade for me, but everything else is still good. It's just a slight time loss in the late game, like 20 or 30 seconds.
The flight units should be on the roof of that building up ahead. It'll be dangerous, but we're not going anywhere.
Because this spear dashing movement here goes a little bit faster with an upgraded sword. But it is still pretty damn fast. I'm just going to change my pod program here to enable a skip that I'm going to do. So I picked up a pod program there called Mirage. It's like a, if you guys play League of Legends, League of Legends, if you play that, it's like Ye's Alpha Strike or whatever you call it. Or like Juggernaut's Omni Slash in Dota, you know? I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about. You just go like invincible and slash around at nearby enemies. But basically it's like a channel, and at the end of it, you get boosted up a little bit from where you were originally. And that little bit of height we get is super important, because we're going to be pushing 2B to the limits for this next skip. It's called Negotiation Skip. And it is very scary because you can soft lock. Oh, that you know? Yeah, right? You guys all know about that stuff. So we're just utilizing the double pod program that we got from the 2 pods. You can pod program in this and it does a super awesome spinny like spiral attack with missiles. And then you can swap to the other pod program and do the same thing because it's off cooldown. Am I saving the children? I do actually have to shoot some children later. Maybe I shouldn't. What do you guys think? Should we shoot the children? They're just machines, right? It saves time, alright? It saves like 2 seconds.
For the first time in centuries, we've intercepted a signal belonging to the aliens. These are the creatures that are in direct command of the machine life forms on this planet. If we can destroy them, we can end this long and...
But it seems to be underground. Like way
So that's another usage of SD there. SD kind of conserves momentum from any movement you are already doing. So if you do that plunge, that diagonal diving move, and then hold SD out of it, you can go really fast towards the ground. Like you can fall really quickly.
Machines. Seems like they've been here for a long time.
And obviously I'm using it in spear dashing here.
I don't know. There's nothing
And
like
if
it.
we're unlucky ahead, you might get to see another usage of it. Which I really don't want to do, because if everything goes correctly, we shouldn't need to see it. But yeah, we'll see.
You.
So this fight, this is a fight with these guys, Adam and Eve, and it ends when their dialogue ends. So what we're going to do is clip out of the fight and go on a little adventure if we can manage it. The controls on this side scroll a little finicky right now. Dude, I actually can't get out.
We can become aware. Eventually, the
That was weird.
intelligence within our network began to
Jumping over invisible walls and stuff, you know.
You'd probably be surprised.
So we're gonna clip out. Until like 2 months ago, we had no way of cancelling this dialogue.
They were simple.
But Marky recently, the guy who finds a lot of glitches, is like the distortion of NieR.
They held no value
And
to us, but the
he found this skip. We can cancel all of the dialogue and then the fight ends instantly, but we've gotta do some really risky stuff.
are an enigma. They killed uncountable numbers of their own kind, and yet left in equal measure.
It's one of the hard parts.
Don't you think?
So this is the insane aerial movement I was talking about. Oh crap, okay. We gotta try this again.
To unraveling this riddle of humanity.
I got greedy.
Now we will allow you to assist us. You were made in their image after all.
Assist you with what?
It's simple.
There we go.
need you to locate the humans on the moon and bring them to us. We will then dissect.
And so we're gonna come over
analyze
here
them in order to drag their secrets forth into
and
the
shoot
light.
at this NPC we know is
Surely
hovering in the
attraction
distance.
Are you insane?
This is a guy you
We'd
can actually
never do
race
that.
with to get special items, but I just shot him and he's like complaining about it. So his dialogue actually overrides the other dialogue of the fight, and this is the hard part here. I need to focus for this one. Oh shit. Okay, I need to SD again. I messed it up a little. So this floor here, the area kind of unloaded because I teleported from ages away when the fight ended. The area unloaded, but the floor is like, it's really weird. There's nothing else like it in the game. The floor is super peculiar here. So I'm just doing some special movement to get out. I have to actually do a second full SD. But yeah, you can like get stuck in this floor. You can fall infinitely in the floor and you just won't be able to get out of it.
Back this way again?
And that's why there's such a big
What a
fear of
pain.
soft locking here.
Stop complaining.
Yeah.
So I didn't execute that too cleanly, but, you know, I still skipped all the dialogue, so I'm happy.
2B, this is Operator 60. We now have an operational transporter in the sea.
Ideally, you wouldn't have to
We're
blow
attempting
yourself
to
up
deploy
at all
them at
to
other
get out of
points as
that.
well.
You would just do some very
Thought
specific
Sonya
timing of
had access to
inputs.
those.
Care to fill me in?
Transporters?
And that's not a
They
skip
let you
that anyone
transfer your
goes for
consciousness to a
currently.
temporary body back in the bunker.
That's a very recent skip,
Up next.
and very, very difficult. So, you know, if you want to pick up this game, you say, oh, look, the movement's pretty sick, the booty's pretty sick, the music's amazing, and the combat quite intimidating but manageable, right? You pick up the game, you buy it, you play through it, you're amazed. You go into speedruns, you don't do that skip. Just don't do that skip. It's not worth it. Unless you have world record and you want to get a better time.
Why don't we rest a little bit, 2B? It's been
Hey
a
Oddbud.
while.
I'll
Shoutouts
rest
to
if I feel
Oddbud, by
like
the
it.
way. Absolute god gamer. Oh yeah, no worries, fool. I recommend it. I'm just gonna fill you guys in on the story right here. Basically, that whole city ruins area collapsed and revealed aliens underneath.
We
Because the aliens like invaded Earth ages ago, like thousands of years ago. And brought machine life forms with them as an army. What am I doing here? I want to pick up some of these. That's not what I'm supposed to pick up. I'm just gonna play safe here and sell some stuff that I need to sell. Don't want to spaghetti too much. Okay, that's fine. I hope I got everything. But basically the machines invaded and wiped out humans, or like humans moved to the moon. So they have like a moon base alpha up there. And us androids are humans' creation to fight off the machines. So it's like a machine-android war now. Not a single human left on Earth, right? But we've just found these aliens underneath the crater that was created when that big machine we fought blew up. So we found the aliens, they're all dead, as you would have heard Adam and Eve talking about. And Adam and Eve are like an embodiment of the machines. Like the machines are all on the network. That's why they're so tough to fight off, because they can communicate so efficiently. And those guys are like an embodiment of the machines. And the machines, as we find out, are actually trying to emulate humans. They envy the humans. And so that's why Adam and Eve were like naked and shit. They were like, you know, beautiful. They were missing something that humans have, but they were beautiful nonetheless. So we fought those guys off. And now we're gonna investigate this weird forest outpost. And you can see the machines are starting to talk like people. Emulating them more and more. So these guys in the forest are weird. They're going on about a forest kingdom, a king, protecting the king, and invaders and stuff like that.
Looks like the forest is just ahead.
Yeah, we have a mod called Fix Automata Resolution, because this is a terrible port. It's basically the same thing as DSFix. Except the game already had 60 FPS, you just couldn't hit it without the mod. Or at least most people couldn't hit it without the mod. Just disables like unnecessarily powerful graphical settings and stuff like that. Rip birds. Now up here is one of my favorite skips in the game, called Rainbow Road. We originally had a skip here called Mario Kart, which is where you, if you watch Mario Kart speedruns, you'd know, you kind of like go off the course, drown, and then Lakitu spawns you at like a different place because of checkpoints. It's similar to that, except now we have this updated skip that completely avoids having to do that and is quicker. Whoops. It's a little bit tricky though. So we're going all the way over there. And you can see I'm still using SD and aerial movement because it's just so cool and so important if you want to optimize your movement. Just gonna clip out here. There are like 10 ways to clip through that tree trunk right there, by the way. The walls in this game don't exist. And we're actually completely out of bounds. We're just gonna climb these windows that the devs left for us so kindly. And we are already at the top of the castle, which is our destination. So that's handy dandy. Yeah, rip walls. We just completely obliterated the forest. It's like they set up this labyrinth like Sen's Fortress for us and we just like glitch out through it. Skip all of it. To be fair though, it is by far more difficult to go through the speedrun way. Like, you know the meme, people are always like, oh, speedruns, cheating. But like, the out of bounds stuff that skips so much of the game is so much harder than doing it normally. And being so underleveled for the run as well is really tricky. This is A2, A2. We're obliterating her with damage glitches and slow-mo.
But she's... Let's go after her, 2B.
And we're supposed to go after her, but we're just gonna like plunge through this dialogue trigger here. Normally that would stop you and like turn you around and make you walk back, but When you plunge through it, it can't cancel the plunge animation, so you just go straight through the dialogue. But you do need a lot of height to do that. Oh, crap. I'm missing the story? Oh, no. Not the story. Oh, well. We'll live. 20? There are technically 27 endings.
It'll be faster.
By the way, guys, I am a little bit sunburnt.
Let's stay sharp and head back to the resistance.
I hate you, Effie, for pointing that out, but I gotta fess up. I went to a nice little picnic today, but it wasn't even that sunny, but like, you know, those days where it's like overcast or like slightly sunny and the UV is just skyrocketed. I don't know if you guys have that, but in Australia we have a giant hole in our ozone, which is awesome. So, yeah. Speedrun routes, there's like A ending, E ending, A to Z, which does all the endings, and there's 98% quests. So you have like intel in this game, which is like your percent completion, and there's like a quest category. So you need to go and do like all the quests except for this one particular quest that requires that you get all the enemy data, which is horrible, because later in the game, there are like different variations of enemies that pop up. And you just have to keep on reloading areas to find the right enemies. It's like this horrible grinding if you were to do 100% of this game. It's like the main reason why you wouldn't. But someone eventually is going to do 100%.
Let's take him out already so I can be home in time for dinner and a bath.
Androids don't.
I'm not sure if I have everything set up correctly. I'm just gonna... Ah, okay, good.
Can I interrupt with a quick donation?
Yeah, sure.
Nice, thank you. We have $5 from Fudge saying, Kanaris, when are you going to become as dogs? Wowee.
Wowee. Seems wee.
I think that's the last of the machines.
So that was a bit of combat, and I actually backtracked to hit a trigger that we skipped. A bit of dialogue, because there was dialogue playing right before the cutscene can start, and I actually cancelled that dialogue with other dialogue that was supposed to hit earlier. So they cancel each other out, cutscene plays, and I'm a happy man. And we are heading towards the best bit of the run. Yay! It's Grun. It's like a 12-minute auto-scroller. But I do have some special things that I wanted to say during this part, alright? So don't tune out just yet. We'll get to those though. This bit's not actually auto-scroller. Like, you need to kill the waves quickly if you want to go fast. But soon it actually will be literal auto-scroller. Nothing you can do to speed it up. And you can see this ally we have with us is NieR, our buddy. And he can be very annoying. He can steal kills here, and you only actually get the experience for enemies that are destroyed if you're the one who deals the last hit.
Attention, this is Carrier Blue Ridge.
So you guys know Dota and League, right? Last hits, right? Yeah, it's like that. It's, yeah. He can be really annoying and KS the boss if you're not careful. And the boss, this upcoming boss, gives like some of the highest experience of any bosses in the game. So it's really important that we get as much experience as possible so that we stay kind of up to date on our levels and deal more damage to enemies. Because late game we're like 10 levels under, and that really hurts our DPS. Yeah, NieR is the 5th position. Being a jerk. Yeah, I have been playing League again recently. Sorry, guys.
I'm picking up a large-scale enemy
Just can't get that Frostbite Irelia out of my head. Alright, it's this boss, the Goliath Flyer. He is really easy. And like, he dies pretty quickly. You can see we're doing the pod program and then another one on the other pod. Oh, I missed out on a buff. Wait, what is this? What is this? Oh, I see. Spaghetti. That's what that was. Okay, he's gonna take a little bit longer to kill. Because I spaghettied. So Lenian's in chat has actually just brought up something that can happen. Sometimes when 9S is very specifically positioned, we don't know what exactly causes it, but the game is like super glitchy anyway, so there's heaps of stuff like that. 9S can like go invisible, and his hitbox of his flight unit that is in seems to take up the whole screen. He kills any enemies that come onto the screen instantly, so he's always dealing damage to every enemy on the screen. So he KS's everything, and it's horrible. Because in this bit, it doesn't matter how quickly he kills them, right? We just want the last hits. But he can sometimes go ahead and glitch out and disappear and annihilate everything on the screen. Which doesn't even save time, it's just annoying. But there are other parts of the run where it can happen and be beneficial. And like instantly kill waves for you. But we really don't know what causes it. Did 9S KS it? I don't think so. I think I leveled up. I'm not sure. Wasn't paying attention.
We've got to find another way to damage it.
A full level off you? Yeah, he can steal full levels off you. It's horrible. But this is the actual auto-scroller bit. Do I have... Wait. Forget whether I changed my FFC emotes for this. I still have FFudgy, right? In my FFZ. That's an important emote. You guys should spam FFudgy with capital WHY. Yes, that one. The one that full posted. That's a very special emote to me. Thank you guys. I need the support.
While you're doing your auto-scroll, can I interrupt for a quick donation?
Yeah.
We have a $10 donation from Pete saying, can we get more of that sweet too booty?
Don't worry, we'll get to it. We'll have it for a large chunk of the end of the run. In fact, at one point, we'll just have it until the end of the run, so... It's very fortunate. So this bit coming up in the distance, you can see there's a bright gold orb. And we've been told by our operators back at the bunker, they're like our, I don't know, strategists. They tell us what to do on the field, basically. And we've been told to destroy this, so that we can disable Grun's EMP shield and fire a laser at him from the bunker to destroy him. So we're gonna go ahead and destroy this. You need to take out the 4 things on the side and then take out the middle one. So this bit actually isn't auto-scroller here, but a large proportion of Grun is. Right. And actually one of my announcements was, we as the NieR Automata community have put together a bounty for someone to find a Grun skip. If you can skip like a significant portion of this Grun sequence, so that we don't have to sit through it every good run, every run that doesn't die before now, if you can find a skip for that, we will actually pay you $2,500 US to find a skip for Grun. If it can be done in a legit A-ending run of NieR Automata, if you find the skip, we will actually pay you
have
That's
an idea. You and I should meet
that's
up at the
how
spot I
much
just
Grin
marked.
is annoying to us. We've pulled together our money and committed to paying someone that much. If they can find a skip that can be done in a ending run. So no cheat engine, you know, it actually has to be done without external tools in a speedrun. Just a disclaimer, we aren't paying you if it can't be done in a run. Even if it's frame perfect, you know, that's fine, but it needs to be legit. If you can find that, and believe me, it's hard, but if you can find that, we will pay you 2,500 US dollars.
Direct? Oh, right.
So that's the first announcement out of the way.
Let down some fire in its stupid mouth.
Just firing some balls into Grin's mouth. He loves them. And you thought he was big before, but now he is big. Yeah, well, Marky's tried the most out of anyone to find a skip for Grin, and hasn't been successful.
To help annihilate the androids, but it wound up going out of control.
Like, I think...
Final.
Yeah?
I was just asking if I can have time to announce a couple of things.
Yeah.
So you just go ahead and tell me already.
Oh. No, you can go ahead with that. I was just talking about something.
No,
It's fine.
you go. Okay.
Brood.
Alright, so we in the Speed Charity Marathon have still a couple of incentives coming up that we really would like to see met. A couple of ones that are my favorites are definitely the Solid Sanctuary, 90% no major glitches, getting over it after the run by Kanaris. So you can play getting over it after the run. We see that 20 out of 300, so it's quite far away, but the run is still quite far away as well, so we really can meet that, I really believe. And then another one that's one of my favorites is the Dark Souls 1 item and moveset randomizer 2 times games.
Dude.
That is gonna be a hot
You guys should donate towards that one. Is that Master and Miltrovid?
It's Master and Milt, and the incentive is to use magic only. So yeah, really advise you to donate towards that. It's only 280 more to go, so really you should get to that.
Yeah. As much as you guys love this game, I'm sure, we have no more incentives for this game, so put your donations towards the item and moveset randomizer, I reckon. That's where my vote's going. So here's the second core. There are 3 of these things that we need to destroy until Grin dies. And they can be pretty terrible for RNG, spinning into weird positions that you can't hit. Thankfully it hasn't been too bad yet. Spaghetti. So, okay. I said I had 2 announcements and I have a second one. I'm gonna personally challenge Nems38, Abyss XOXO, and Coltrane45. If you guys speedrun this game, which I know you really want to, but here's an added incentive. If you speedrun this game, beat whatever time I have on the leaderboards within 3 months of now. If you can beat that time within 3 months, I will pay you 1,000 US dollars of my own money. I'll save up and pay you that much for you to beat my time, alright? But you have to do it in 3 months. Because Nems talks a lot of shit. And Abyss also talks a lot of shit. So, you know, if you guys really think you can do it, then go ahead. I'm saying right now, it's on camera, I will pay you 1,000 US dollars to beat whatever time I have on the leaderboards at the time. So not this time that I have right now necessarily, but like if I PB, you gotta beat that new one. But it's gotta be within 3 months from this date. It's just, guys, you have no idea how hard it is for me. I have no competition here. I'm just waiting. In fact, I might open it up to any guys from the Speed Souls community. So if you don't know the run yet, and I know who knows the run, if you don't know the run, and you beat my time in 3 months, then, yeah, it's open to you too. installing NieR as we speak. Yeah. Well, okay, so 122.50. Actually, I think is it 122.52 my PB right now? Whatever. That's my PB right now in loadless time. But as I said, if I get a new PB, then you gotta beat that one. But yeah. So who thinks Nems can do it? Because I fucking don't. He hates weeb stuff, and not that this game is a weeb game or anything, but you know, it's got booty, and as Nem says, I'm gay. No. Nems is cool, Nems is cool. He just has really bad opinions. But anyway, in the run right now, you may have noticed that we're on the way to a different place that's not Grun, not an auto-scroller. And this is where the run kind of gets a lot more intense. Just clip out of the wall there, go straight to our destination. Nems is just, yeah. Disclaimer, there's nothing wrong with being gay or bi or anything. I'm just explaining why Nems has bad opinions. Echo.
What is this?
Analysis. This area is composed of crystallized silicon and carbon.
What's with the corpses?
It is unlikely the Yorha units came this far on their own. Hypothesis. The enemy must have
Yo,
placed
what's
them
up,
here
Ben?
deliberately.
So, this is another fight like that negotiations. Adam is just gonna monologue here. We're gonna clip out of bounds and try to cancel the dialogue yet again. We just don't want to let this guy talk ever.
Religion, war.
If I can actually clip
The more
out.
human records I unearth, the
There we go.
more charmed I am by their complexity. This city is
Okay.
one of many areas
So we're out of
I
bounds,
created out of
because there's a wall
desire
blocking
to
us from going back the way we came.
understand, to know humans. It's
But
grand,
Adam's
don't you
got 3
think?
phases. This is the first one. This is the one that we can skip.
And yet it's
But in this
currently
first
nothing
phase,
more
his
than an
dialogue before their
android
fight can end is
graveyard.
actually divided into 3
I
chunks.
seek to learn and
So when you
adopt
when you
all
skip a piece of
facets of
dialogue, it
humanity.
skips like the entire chunk, but doesn't skip any more.
Others family.
This is the 3rd chunk starting right now, which is perfect for us, because in this elevator,
Proposal. Prioritize
there's a
search for
proposal dialogue from Pod,
I know.
and that completely cuts off Adam. That 3rd chunk is like most of the dialogue, so skipping that is really big. Saves like 30 seconds,
Connection to the network.
and we go straight into phase 2.
Let us embrace death.
I don't have time for you.
Alright,
I need
so now that the
to
dialogue
find
started,
Kanaris.
any damage we deal won't matter. We're just waiting for the dialogue again. Alright, that's phase 2. And phase 3 is like hyper phase 2. He just gets a lot faster and crazier. Nice. Rip that guy. He is quite dead. So usually machines can't die, but this guy that we just killed is so obsessed with becoming like humans that he disconnected himself from the network, which means he can't revive. Like, usually they can revive, right?
Report.
Because they're machines. They can just be rebuilt, but yeah. He went a little off the deep end and disconnected himself, and then he was like, wow, this is what death feels like.
Something tells me
Amazing, this was
is going to
totally
involve
worth
a
it.
lot of killing.
Proposal. Procure
So now he's
information
gone.
From the machine life form known as Pascal.
I suppose he might know.
Oh yeah, I am
something.
also
Pascal,
taunting.
can
I
you
should have
hear me?
explained that at the start of the run.
Oh, hello, 2B.
We have a
Did you need
flashlight
something?
that you
I
can
need to
toggle.
know if you've seen
It
any
comes
new
from the pod
trends or
and
behavior
goes
from
forward
the
in like a little
machines.
cone thing.
New trends?
If you like repeatedly flash that on an enemy, they get more and more angry. And once they reach a certain point, They like glow red and get steam and
They
stuff.
wanted to discuss a peace
And when they're in that state,
No
they're
kidding.
officially taunted, and you deal 1.5 times the damage to them, and they also
that's what they
deal
want,
1.5
why don't
times the
they move
damage to
in?
you.
I believe
So
that
it's
workers
kind of
are building
risky,
a colony of their own.
but in
You
a
don't
speedrun
say.
we want to deal as much damage as possible.
Apparently it's
Oh, they also get a
located in
lot
the
more
abandoned
aggressive and a bit
factory.
faster,
I can give
so...
you the coordinates if you'd like.
Please.
I was actually
But
planning
yeah,
to go
in like
see
every
for
fight
myself
I'm going to be
today.
taunting enemies.
Maybe we can meet up over there?
Sounds good.
Target location data obtained. Marking on map.
Alright, the machines who seek to form an alliance with my village are hiding out
Alright, so here we have a special strat,
You should
if I can
probably be
actually get it.
careful. We machines can be rather unpredictable.
You can upskirt 2B in this game,
Truth, yes.
and she
Now that
swats
we're
away the
connected on
camera,
network,
which is on the pod,
we no longer share data with each other. We can
and
speak,
it
of
actually
course,
moves her
but
forward
I find
a bit if you
language
chain them
contains
together like
many
this,
ways to hide one's true intentions.
with specific positioning of the camera, and that's a lot
Certainly
faster
does.
than just slow walking through the dialogue, because you can't run during that bit. But yeah, if you repeatedly get swatted away, she moves forward quite a bit. So an optimal speedrun of this game actually gets the 10 times upskirt achievement. Nah, I didn't talk about it very hard. This game has like easy, normal, hard, and very hard. Unlike Souls, which is all just one difficulty. So we're playing on normal, which is the, you know, reasonable difficulty. But easy gives you like auto stuff, like you can auto attack enemies with special plug-in chips and auto heal and stuff like that. And basically just makes everything die really, really quickly because it has less health. And you're in like no fear of dying. Whereas in this run, as a new runner, you actually die quite a bit because you're so underleveled. But that's easy. Hard, you get one-shot by a lot of things, but you can build up your defenses so that you don't get one-shot. And in very hard, absolutely everything one-shots you. And enemies are like hyper-aggressive and it's horrible. Like it sounds fun, it sounds like a good challenge, right? But it's not. Even if you love challenging games, very hard on this game is just like not a good kind of difficulty.
Less talk, more running.
Souls is all easy, yeah.
We've had a run-in with
Souls is super
one-ton
easy.
machines.
The door on the other side of the room just opened. Let's check it out.
So yeah, we just clipped out of bounds and did something called a void out. So when you fall for a certain period of time with no floor underneath you, or like sometimes you can have floor underneath you, but it's specific circumstances. When you fall for long enough, the game puts you back where you were last grounded, as like a mechanic to prevent casual players from like getting screwed over by the game, just in case, I think. So we're gonna do it here again, but voiding out like respawned all the enemies. And what that room above us was checking for was whether all the enemies were dead or not, or whether a certain number were dead. So when they disappeared, it satisfied the check and the elevator door opened. We didn't even need to kill anything. And we did it again down there to reset the elevator state, because that also reloaded. And so we could ride the elevator back up to this room, which isn't normally possible. We're just going to time a specific void out here. Hit a trigger in front of that door and come back up to here where we were last grounded. And now we're going to go straight to the end of the factory. And all that was just to get a few triggers that are mandatory. Without them, there's not going to be a boss up ahead. We won't be able to progress the story and get the ending.
Thanks.
But this place is pretty crazy. Cool, that was a pretty decent factory. Yeah, Ornstein. Prologue is where a lot of people get stuck on very hard. Because everything one-shots you, even on hard actually, everything one-shots you. And as a new player, you don't really know what attacks things do. Just waiting for the boss.
Detected over enemy unit. Physical defense shield detected. Analysis. Both
We're kind of almost entering the end game boss rush here.
Oh, now what?
large energy supply detected within this factory. Proposal.
So from here on out, there's going to be a lot of combat and not a whole lot of movement.
That Goliath we just encountered.
And eventually, it's just going to turn into a run of boss after boss.
I'm gonna shut off power to the factory now.
Do it.
So this is Soshi in Deep Factory.
Hang in there, 2B.
He's currently invulnerable. We just gotta wait for NieR to hack into the factory and deactivate the power, so his shield drops down. And I'm listening to the music here for a specific moment to drop down and start attacking. And I'm just gonna buff up too and taunt him. There he goes.
2B, I just shut down the electrical grid.
And it's really tough to see what's going on, but I'm basically just spinning around throwing sword after sword after sword. And using my iframes, like I have a few iframes each damage glitch throw to get through his attacks unscathed. Pretty standard Soshi. Alright. Yeah, a lot of speedrunners run out of recoveries on their first run. Because you have to heal a lot, because you're getting hit a lot. And here's a special little skip. One of my favorite skips, actually. Whoops. Nice. Okay. This is Shabu skip. You might remember this area from the start of the game. But we just gotta do it a little bit differently, because there are enemies nearby and we can auto-lock onto them and fall in the lava, and it's just really not good for our health. Generally falling into lava isn't very good for your health. Just something to remember.
Wow, that was certainly something. I had no idea such a vast space existed beneath the abandoned factory. I need to return and investigate as soon as possible. When I do, perhaps you'd be willing to join me?
No thanks. I'm heading back to the
Isn't it a
resistance
glitch?
camp.
Yeah.
What about you?
Indeed. Very, very
Back to the
glitchy.
village. I have plenty on my plate there.
I see.
This game's actually pretty boring as a speedrun, glitchless. A lot of the fun factor comes from like optimizing the skips and optimizing the movement, which utilizes glitches.
Scanning for interference.
The machine. Requesting it. Backup. Forces in range.
I mean, actually, a lot of the aerial movement we do isn't like glitchy per se. It's stuff that was put in the game. Certain attacks give you height, you can chain certain attacks together, and there you go. You can get up to a lot of places you wouldn't think you could, but some of it is very glitchy indeed.
Affirmative.
Yeah, I mean, Kata can come and take my recce. I don't care who does it. Just someone please. Now, the game's boring without glitches, not with glitches. The game's very fun with glitches. And a lot harder to do well, actually. This is kind of like a boss fight. Kind of. It's not really a boss fight, I guess. But it's kind of a tough fight, because if you get stuck between two stubbies here, these little guys that whirl their arms around, they can just perma evade lock you, and it's really annoying. Cool. Because in this game, when you hit the roll button, unlike Dark Souls, you don't just get iframes. You like get iframes for the first part of the dash, these dashes that we're doing, and then if you get hit by an attack, she like does an evade animation where she turns invisible for a split second and like displaces herself. And you can't do anything during that. So if you get stuck with an enemy that keeps on hitting you, like these guys do sometimes, then it can be very scary because you're just stuck there evading or taking damage.
You okay?
I'm fine. Let's take this bastard down.
And as I said before, it's pretty much boss after boss now.
Right.
Just gonna try and kill one of these for extra experience.
They're still coming? What do we do? There's too many.
2B? 2B, can you hear me? Our village is under...
Pascal's getting attacked by dinosaurs.
Shit.
Gotta go save her from Jurassic Park. Poor Pascal though. And this spear dashing thing as well, I mentioned not doing that skip earlier if you're a new runner. You don't want to spear dash either. It's just not worth the time to learn. Because it doesn't actually save that much time, it's just slightly faster. Okay, this is core number 2. Oh, I don't think I'm gonna get the quick kill. Maybe. Oh, okay. Cool. That was a really slow quick kill, but we did it. Because if you don't kill him really quickly there, he goes into like a different form. It's really annoying to deal with.
What is this?
Looks like he's bombarding the area with forced connections.
And you'll notice I'm also using slow-mo on a lot of the bosses, just to like abuse invulnerability cycles. And this is the final boss. Has 4 forms. This is Adam's brother, so Adam's the one that died earlier. He disconnected himself and killed himself on our sword. You kind of don't want to get hit by that. But Eve is basically just pissed off that we killed his brother, even though his brother was like, kill me. Sometimes it's best to not kill other people, even if they ask you to.
What is it?
The energy seems to be coming from a large...
I think we can all learn a lot of things from this game.
He's absorbing the life force of whatever's left on the network.
Damn it! We'll never get anywhere like this. I'm going to try hacking into Eve and shutting him down. Back me up, 2B!
On it. Protecting Unit 9S while he hacks the system.
The enemy is connected to a vast network. Analysis. The actions of Unit 9S have an unacceptably low probability. Enemy unit
Okay,
cut
cool.
off from network.
That's phases 1 and 2 done. Phase 3 is arguably the toughest boss fight in the game. Not just casually, but like, to do it quickly is really tough, because it's flying all around everywhere. You really need to nail your combos, know what you're doing here. And I'm making sure to keep him always taunted. Okay, and now we wait for another attack. And we blow ourselves up. And that ends the phase. So I just get him to a specific amount of health and then blow myself up to deal the rest of the damage.
FCS destroyed. Close range combat. No
Yeah, the phase is pretty RNG dependent. And this is 4th phase. Everything that we can do has been disabled except for walking and locking on and pod firing. So we're basically just at the mercy of Eve here. Thankfully we can spam recoveries through these BS attacks. And I mean, if you couldn't, then I probably wouldn't speedrun this game. Okay. And the final thing we have to do is just walk over to 9S.
Network.
Put my controller down.
It's okay. I can always
Have a nice sip of booty.
But you'll lose you. The you that exists at this very moment.
Guess
Oh,
upload this corrupted data to the bunker.
pretty close to the estimate, hey.
So
9S.
And that's the time. That cutscene.
please do
You
me.
did it.
I want you to do this
So yeah,
for me.
thanks for watching me, guys. Yeah, I'm a pretty good estimator, I know. The other thing is we run this game in loadless usually to compete, but this is RTA because it's a marathon, so it's kind of hard to stay under estimate with RTA, but yeah, it worked out well. But yeah, that's the speedrun. It's really glitchy, really fun, difficult to optimize. Even though it might look easy, there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong at every turn. And I would highly recommend playing the game casually as well. It's usually $60, but it sometimes goes on sale for like 30 or 24 US dollars. And the speedrun is just phenomenal as well. But yeah, that's NieR Automata. And don't forget that deal, guys. $1,000 if you come close to my... Well, if you beat my time, actually. You have to beat it. But yeah. I'm looking at you, Abyss, in chat. I'm looking at you. But yeah, that'll be it from me.
I don't know if Brood's here to introduce the next run.
Yeah.
Damn it, Brood.
I can.
Sorry.
Sorry. The next run will be.
Oh wait, hold on. I need to fix the echo again. Give me a sec.
Can I? I think I can.
There we go. You can go.
Alright, cool. So the next run will be the best of the best by Dank Fox 36. We have Bearstein Bears, Camping Adventure, any percent.
No.
We actually
read the chat.
You don't have that. I'm actually joking.
Oh, what, we don't?
He's trolling.
I'm trolling.
He's coming back later. Dark Fox has gone to bed because he's super tired.
Oh, okay. So we have another run. I'm not sure which one.
It's Automata Unchained.
It's actually Immortal Unchained by Science of 84.
Nice.
I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Thank you all for
Dark
watching.
Fox's run is going to be before Reverse Boss Order.
Okay.
Just to add.
Alright.
Thanks a lot,
there
guys,
you
for
go.
having me. I know it's not a Souls game, but it's
It was
a
a great
really,
one. Thank you.
really good speedrun.
And sorry about the tech issues, but
Oh yeah, no problem.
can't foresee something.
I'm gonna signing off as your host, and I'll be handing it over to someone else, which I don't know.
Bye bye.
Alright, take care. And have a nice rest of the marathon.
Well.